Eden Kaz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. P.S. Just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a psychological empath, meditation master, dimensional healer, all the things to help you within this ascension. To learn more about me, visit me at EdenJustBe.com. And let's get this party started. Eden with Just Be Spiritual Boom, in association now with the Grassroots Warrior Network, which is so super cool. My only reoccurring guests are here, Pia and Cullen. This is our 6th time together. Please, y'all, start by saying a big hello, and I'll read more in a minute about your bios and all that. All right. Hi.
Hi, Eden. Hello, everyone.
Okay, we are going to have a riveting conversation today, as we always do. So always ending with the Just Be practice with additional words of wisdom from the Pleiadian group, Larkmar, which will describe a little bit. In the past, we have discussed their love meeting, being normal, 5G, sin, triggers. I'll have a list, a great shift, the cosmic truth. Today, potentially, and I always leave room for change, that we are going to talk about spiritually based truth about potentially direct energy weapons, the world being crazy, climate change. So we'll see what happens today. All right, so let me read a bio. So husband and wife, PhDs, Pia Orleane and Cullen Baird Smith, Interstellar, communicators, writers, visionaries, intuitive, and going back to being normal again, Pia being a former psychologist and Cullen trained in anthropology and archaeology, respectively. Together, and it has to be both of them, and we've talked about this before, they bring wisdom from the stars from a group of Pleiadian-like beings known as Larkmar. They together have offered decades of beautiful work and commitment to Earth and humanity. And one thing that they are so good about is talking about the Great Awakening and giving spiritual truths and just bam, bam, bam. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Should we start with some of the craziness that's going on in the world? Shall we start with that?
It's everywhere, Eden. It's everywhere you look.
Yes.
This is absolutely the most challenging time humanity has ever faced in our long history of our evolutionary journey here on this planet. We have never, ever encountered such adversity, such chaos, such absolute mayhem in our long experience. It's incredible.
However, from the Pleiadian perspective, Larkma told us years and years ago that there would come a time when we would see more craziness everywhere, that mental health issues would be off the chart, that normally stable people would be falling apart, and that we were to expect this so we could up our compassion, just expect that it was going to happen. And we see it all around us every day.
But that doesn't mean that we can't add our positivity, our highest vibration to counteract what is occurring in the world, as Pia said, as crazy as it is.
That's our job, to bring that vibration up. That's our job. That's what we're here for.
So how are y'all doing within that? I feel like I'm doing pretty decently.
Well, we think we are too, actually. We have interesting story. I go to collect organic food from an organic farmer friend once a week for us to eat. And I was there about 10 days ago, and there was a little boy about 4 years old who was blocking the aisles and wouldn't let me pass. He was just there. And I looked at him and I said, "Do you want to get by?" And he got closer to me. And his mother came up and I said, "Is he wanting to get by?" And she asked him, and he said, "No." And he got closer to me. That child followed me all around the market the whole time I was there. that's an indication to me that something I'm doing is shining outwardly and helping those who may not even know why they're drawn to it. Cullen has stories like that too. We both have stories that we have individually and together that are ramping up. We're having them happen more and more. So yes, we think we're doing a pretty good job with it.
And that I love that too, because part of my work, and for those that are listening who are light workers, healers, that whenever I go out of my house too, that I set an intention that I just communicate light and love. So even just going to the grocery store or getting gas or whatever, it's a constant, I don't want to call it a job, but a constant intention that no matter where I am, no matter what, that I have this light in me and I'm just going to convey it out, convey it out. Wow. So the little kid, he just followed you around and was just like,
The whole time.
And this has
Nice.
happened. We were walking years and years ago in a forested area, this beautiful, beautiful place filled with trees. And this little child, I don't know,
Year and a half.
year and a half, just beginning to walk, just beginning to be somewhat steady on, was it a little boy or a little girl?
Little boy.
Little boy. He started coming towards us and he put his arms out and said, Mama, Mama, to Pia. And
His mother was not thrilled.
his mother walked up and was so taken aback. She was saying, I'm Mama. We don't know this lady. And he just kept
persisted.
grabbing for Pia.
Mama.
Mama. And that kind of experience is happening more and more. I don't mean just with the two of us. It's obviously happening with you. Anybody who is carrying and broadcasting light through their eyes, through their smiles, through their hearts, is absolutely affecting people in that way. And
children see it, animals see it, and some grown-ups see it. They may not know what it is they see, but they're drawn to it.
So within that, I'm going to add that not that I've been doing this perfectly. So I did have something this week on a personal level. Okay, so my personal level, that's something that just shook me. It took 2 days to get back on foundation, and encouraging people too that you are not in this alone. Like I needed assistance with this because just doing it my own self wouldn't have worked. Or I just, so to go to people that you also can help you find that balance is so important right now, because it's just wacky. I had client sessions last week. And typically when I get done with client sessions, I'm good. Like I don't take things personally. I can balance things. But it was one of those days too, that when I was done, it took a little bit for me to come back down, to get grounded. So, and we've talked about this, but especially now, what would you guys recommend in terms of finding that foundation for yourself? And we talked about going out in nature. Is there anything additionally that you guys are doing right now to keep that serenity, to keep that breath going?
well, there's a very, very simple exercise that I've been doing for an extremely long time, probably over 40 years at least. And that is when I encounter something, someone, an experience, an occurrence, a situation that alters me, that either takes my energy without my permission, or enters my energy field, or has a bit of a draining or negative influence. And I'm not suggesting that it's judgmentally bad or blaming. I'm just saying this happens to everyone, especially the sensitive ones of us. And this exercise is very simple. I simply state my name 3 times. I say, Cullen, Cullen, Cullen. This energy does not belong to me. This energy does not belong to me. This energy does not belong to me. And I repeat this 3 times. And I will say that over the years, this technique has served me and the people I have suggested this to so well. It erases, for the most part, and sometimes completely, any energy that does not belong in my field, whether that's positive energy, negative energy, misaligned energy, it doesn't matter. It brings me back to my essence. It brings me back to my core. And I can tell you, when Pia and I met all those years ago, I gave her the idea that this might be good for her, and she can certainly talk about it.
Cullen gives me lots of insight and good ideas. He's a wealth of wisdom.
Oh.
Anyway, one of the things that he reinforced that I know already very deeply, but he reinforced in the last 24 hours is when we're feeling stressed, don't go into resistance. Don't go into, I don't want this. I don't want this. Go away. Instead, just accept what you're feeling and look at what's the source of the feeling. What's being triggered? What needs to be cleared and cleansed? Where's it coming from? And why are you going through it? It's not just the bad email you got. It's something that made you feel a certain way about the email that you got. It's not just that this happened or that happened. It's how you perceive the feeling of feeling threatened or unsafe or frightened or whatever it is you may be feeling.
Thrown off balance.
Thrown off balance. If you're feeling that you're thrown off balance somehow and you resist it, you're only going to get more out of balance and more decentered. If you actually surrender to it and say, I may not like it, but I'll get through it, it makes a difference.
That makes so much sense, because one of the things on that crazy client day, I had a client, I think this is okay to say, I've never had this, that there was something that I felt for them was not in their highest good, and I communicated that, and they basically said, you're not going to change my mind. So I don't think I've ever had anyone so abruptly say, I don't care what you think, but I'm just going to go through this anyway. And I just went, okay, well, let's just talk about that. So I think exactly what you said, being triggered with that too, that there was something within me that it was so forceful that I was kind of taken aback, and I had to work within that. So, shall we talk a little bit about there are so many rabbit holes about Maui. Shall we go into that a little bit?
Sure.
Want to start with the rabbit hole of the DEWs?
That sounds great. And again, DEW, direct energy weapons, which is not, and there are a lot of things about it being a conspiracy. It is not. You can find actual documents on that. So yeah, take it away. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go.
Well, you want to start?
No, go ahead.
What I would like to begin this discussion about is, this is not a conspiracy theory involvement. The term DEW has been around for a very long time. There are agencies in the world, government, military, some private, who have developed machines that can direct a beam of energy that will affect the outcome or the energy of.
Okay. Little freeze right there. All right. So Cullen, you left off with outcome of energy. If you can take it from there.
We just got knocked off.
Yes.
Because of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There is no doubt in either of our minds sitting here talking to you, bringing this subject up caused the computer screen to freeze because someone doesn't like what we're discussing. That is a actual factual statement.
You can track it if you want to think it's just synchronistic and just coincidental. Track it and see when it is that your screen freezes or when you get knocked off of a conversation. And think about what were we discussing, and you'll find it true every time.
Okay.
So
go ahead, knowing that there are going to be potentially lots of freezes, and I will try and edit all those out, but maybe some of them I just need to show. All right, go ahead.
Well, I'll try to make this brief. Sometimes I get very tangential in my discussions. There have been DEW strikes in the past 4 or 5 years that have been absolutely eyewitnessed. There was a huge monumental earthquake in Turkey this past February. 60,000 people died. 1.5 million people were displaced. There was no evidence that there was any seismic activity in the area where this earthquake happened for days, weeks, months.
Not only that, but like the Maui fires, the earthquake in Turkey, there were people who recorded on their phone actual photographs of the wave of energy, the light blast of energy coming from this sphere was aimed into the earth and what happened. So there's documented evidence out there showing that these are intentional earthquake setups, intentional fire settings, intentional harm that can multiply the number of people that it damages.
There is documented evidence.
Okay. Cullen, if you don't mind saying again, there is documented evidence.
That
let's do this.
The fires in America, starting back as long as 2 to 3 years ago, the fires in Canada that are now concurrently happening, people are seeing these golden domes on the horizon and a golden shaft of light going up into the sky. These photographs are cropping up wherever there are disasters that we're seeing. There doesn't seem to be any possibility that these identical flashes are appearing exactly during these occurrences. I mean, it's child's play to realize that there is no coincidence. We could talk about this forever, but I don't want to dominate our conversation. But this is real. This is absolutely real. And the powers that be, as Pia said, are using these techniques quite purposefully.
They're doing it to control. And that's what we need to let the audience know, is we have been controlled for a very long time, but the controls are ramping up. It started in 2020 with the insistence that vaccinations be administered. That was a control. Locking people away in their homes, saying you can't get next to anybody, you'll get sick. That was a control. Now they're doing it by controlling our food source, controlling us with weather strikes like this. This is weather war we're talking about. All of this boils down to one word, and that one word is control. So are we going to allow ourselves to be controlled, or are we going to let our light shine out and say, we see you, do what you want to do, but you're not going to stop us. We're still going to spread the light. We're still going to speak the truth. We're still going to love everybody. You know, go ahead and do what you're going to do, but we know what you're up to.
And the interesting part about Maui as well, let me read a couple of these things. So Jeff Bezos and Oprah have huge amounts of land that they have purchased in Maui. There's the Hawaii Digital Government Summit that is going to be in 2023, the Maui Digital City AI Conference in October 2023. On the World Economic Forum page, there is a statement that Hawaii is to go all clean energy by 2045. And if this is, hopefully all this is still correct, that right now only FEMA and the Red Cross are being admitted into Hawaii, which that all these little like kind of red flags, regardless of what you believe, and in terms of New Mexico and Maui being weapon centers, if I have this correct too, for direct energy weapons. Pro basketball player Royce White wore Investigate Maui on his bald head in a pro basketball game, which I think is beautiful as well. And then, if I'm saying this correctly or pronouncing correctly too, Lahaina was hit, and that is beachfront property that is held by native of Hawaii. They have not relinquished their property. And of course, who gets hit?
It's absolute target.
Isn't that all just so interesting? The possibilities that are out there. Wow. And I think this is a small list of things. I think there's way, way more than that. So in terms of being the light and going, oh, okay, this is going on, and we're just gonna be calm, and we're gonna keep doing what we do. That takes very strong people to do that.
It does indeed.
And the stronger we are, the more sensitive we become to the things that do not resonate with who we are. So therefore, there is an element being inflicted upon in this battle. There's an element of how much can you take? And Cullen and I say, we'll take as much as you want to give, because we're going to give back 10,000 fold in the opposite direction.
I think that's awesome. So what about people that are getting really, because when the water issue happened here in East Palestine, 45 minutes away from me, that was a big moment for me also, to because it was so close, also getting so connected to it, and then realizing, oh my gosh, I am moving into fear. Just to let this go, to be in it but not be of it. And with folks that are getting, oh my god, what's going on in Hawaii, and just getting entrapped into that, what would y'all recommend? And I know we've done the exercise, which is awesome, and do what you want to do. We're gonna burst out light to you. For those that are getting entrapped in these things, what additionally would y'all recommend with that?
The main thing is to look at your own emotions. Look at where you're coming from, because it's very challenging to do our job if we are allowing ourselves to sink into low vibration. If we're frightened, if we're frustrated, if we're judgmental, if we're any of those lower vibrational energies, it's harder to stay centered and calm, and it's harder to do the job we're here to do. So the key thing is look at what you're feeling, work your way through it rather than avoiding it or engaging in it. Either one, just go through it to get to the other side, to empower yourself to be who you are, and then be the light, be the service. Approach things from the higher vibration.
It's about perspective. We can always change our perspective. We can always, because this is a planet of choice. We are very fortunate here. We do have choice. It may not look sometimes as though we do have choice, but we do have free will and free choice. We can always change our attitude, change our perspective, and do what Pia and I talk about a lot, is do a workaround. If you find you're somewhere and whatever it is isn't working, it could be anything, psychological, emotional, physical, do a workaround. Don't be stopped by what's coming towards you. Move around it, move beside it, move under it, move over it. It's a little bit like the magic of water. Water always knows where to go, and the power of water enables it to do exactly what I just said. Move around, move above, move below, even change the situation with the friction of the moving water. And I think what Pia just said, combined with what I'm explaining, is we always have an option to do something else. We don't have to be stuck in what someone tells us we have to do, or someone telling us we have to be like this. We can create a parallel reality and do something else.
I'll add to that too. There's one thing that I'm doing right now, which is very helpful also. These negative people, negative situations, looking at them and going, oh my gosh, they're doing such a great job right now in their role, that making this really hard and really, but they're doing such a great job at that. Thank you so much for doing that, because in seeing it also, again, with this choice, I can either choose to really get down low, or with each of these opportunities to get higher and higher. So thank you so much for bringing this my way, and talking about water, to just the fluidity of that, and how us being fluid and us being flexible. So good. All right. How about I move into climate change a little bit, and let's see how many times we get frozen in this conversation, because we haven't been frozen since our discussions about DEW.
Well, there is the whole agenda that we're under global warming. So if we get frozen, I'm sure they would say it's the fault of global warming and all those emissions from the cattle and the cars.
Yeah.
We are not in global warming.
We are in an absolute scientific cycle that has occurred on this planet from the beginning, billions of years ago. There is evidence in tree rings, there is evidence in glacial frozen water, there is evidence in so many different hard science explanations that this planet has undergone warming, cooling, warming, cooling. This is nothing new under the sun, but the agenda keepers, the agenda writers are making it out as though this is a brand new occurrence and that we humans are causing this because we have too many farms, too many cattle, too many cars. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a cycle that when it warms up, it's time for it to cool down. When it cools down, it's time for it to warm up. It's sixth grade science.
Now, one of the things that is a little bit different right now is that these cycles between warming and cooling, solar minimum and solar maximum, they're called, are generally 11 years in length. Right now, we're heading towards the solar maximum, which should be 11 years total, and it's ramping up faster than usual. So we're moving towards it more quickly than usual, which has to do with the sun emitting more solar flares, more proton into the plasma of space around us and the magnetosphere, all scientifically documented coming from the sun, not from cows and cars here on this end. But it is accelerating because of the sun's changes and movements. The agenda makers want us to think that it's accelerating because of what we humans are doing. If there's anything interfering with it, it's the weather wars they're causing by manipulating the clouds, by seeding them with certain things that they want to change the weather, by sowing storms within certain patterns. They are manipulating the weather, but it has nothing to do with what the sun is doing naturally on its own. So it becomes very confusing for people who say, gosh, we've never had this kind of heat before. Maybe we are in global warming. We're not. We're just in an accelerated solar pattern that the agenda makers are lying and saying it's your fault. You humans are doing this, and therefore we're going to have to take away your food. We're going to have to take away your cars. We're going to have to take away your cows. We have to take away everything.
It's an amazing manipulation. It's one of those classic propaganda situations where if they tell the same lie over and over again, people will begin to believe it. And that's what's happening right now about global warming. It's totally unscientific. It's totally unreliable. It's totally manipulative. And we just heard that the use of personal cars is going to be one of the next control issues where we're going to be told that you can't just use your car to do anything you want anymore. And I mean, that is simply ridiculous that by trying to keep us from driving around, whether it's driving to work or driving for pleasure or
grocery store
or driving to the hospital in emergencies, being told that we're going to have to curtail that is another obvious, complete piece of trickery to control us over and over again.
So we keep coming back to that essential word, control. This is all about control.
Can we talk just a moment about 15-minute cities also? I want to put a little tidbit in there. So I recently took a 10-hour drive, and it was amazing the tolls that were set up and the cost of these tolls. So everything's gone up. And I went, let's go ahead and give a nod out to Charlotte. Went into Charlotte, and they have their lanes completely split. So it isn't just one lane where you pay extra money if you want to go to this lane. There were like 3 lanes that suddenly, if you're not from there and you get on these lanes, you're charged money, but you don't know how much you're charged. And then it was like on a Saturday afternoon. So if you weren't in this lane, there was traffic all here. So we're not in rush hour or anything. So you choose, am I going to sit and wait here or somehow take this lane? It was just one of those things that just, for the moment, I was like, what is this? It was just crazy that suddenly, and I was like, the people that live in Charlotte, why are you putting up with this? Why are you going, this is okay? Because it was probably like 30 minutes through the city, at least less what it seemed like. I don't know if it was quite that long. So yeah, y'all, in terms of control about the 15-minute cities, can y'all talk on that a little bit as well?
Well,
there was a great article in Nexus Newsfeed about 2 weeks ago talking about smart houses, which is a very big part of smart cities. And the article said basically, have you ever considered that every time you walk in your smart house and you have to give a signature that you are who you are, or that anybody who comes to see you has to give signature to prove they are who they are? Have you compared that to what it is about going into a prison system? Because smart houses are nothing but a prison. They are entrapping you in a controlled environment where you have to give out personal data you may not wish to reveal in order to get into your own house or for anybody to come visit you. People think, oh, smart house, smart car, all these things. I don't have to think. I don't have to do anything. It'll do it for me. Oh, Alexa, can you get me this? Alexa, can you tell me that? We are giving up our cognitive responsibility to take care of ourselves. We have cognitive responsibility that we are surrendering to AI. And if we do that, we will find ourselves in 15-minute cities and smart houses that are entrapping us in all kinds of things that are controlled because we have surrendered our right to take care of ourselves.
but the trick, Eden, is we're being told this is good for you and it will make your life easier, and it could be nothing further than the truth. It's entrapping, it's anti-nature, it's absolutely not for our best interests. And this scenario goes on and on. Smart cities, smart houses, smart meters on our houses, so that the electric company doesn't have to hire people to come out in their pickup truck and read your meter. It's all being controlled at a central location. And I don't mean just the smart meters, I mean the whole system. It's all about the corporations and the companies that are making the money by firing or making redundant employees that used to do their jobs just completely fine, but the companies want to make more profit. So in order to make more profit, they're using AI technology in order to get rid of workers that were doing the job, and it probably wasn't costing that much for the corporation, but now it's all automated. And all of this automation, people don't understand that smart meters are lethal. If you look at where smart meters have been installed on houses or apartment buildings or businesses, all of the vegetation near the smart meters are dying because they can't handle the 5G pulsing EMFs, how that system is operating on. So it's incredible. All we have to do is look at the vegetation. The vegetation is dying. Wherever there are smart anything,
Smart.
and wherever 5G towers are being erected, the vegetation is dying in a line with that EMF directional beam.
It's not a very large leap to think plants are dying because of 5G. I'm part of nature too with a biological body. What's it going to do to me? But people don't stop and think about that.
Because they're told this is a better system.
We have one client that actually asked questions about that when they were installing it. And the person installing the meter said, oh, this is good for you. It's going to make you healthier. She actually asked the questions and he outright lied to her. Now, whether he knew it was a lie or he was just passing on what he'd been programmed to say.
Company policy.
But people are being lied to, and you need to wake up and use your own senses to look around you and see what's happening and the truth is right there in front of you.
So to answer your question, 15-minute cities are just actually prisons. They're not.
Can you
they're not-
explain what the theory behind that is, or what that is exactly?
It's a way of corralling people. The idea of a 15-minute city is you can get everything done in your environment within 15 minutes. You don't have to drive to the mall. You don't have to drive to the next city to carry on your business. You're going to do it within 15 minutes in your own locale, which is another controlling. I mean, P and I sound like broken records here, Eden. It's all about control. There was a huge protest in the Midlands of England a couple of weeks ago because what they call the council, which is the governing body in English villages and cities, the council said, we are turning our village into a 15-minute village. The people in that area said, there's no way. Thousands of people gathered, not just from that village, but from other environs around there. And they said, we are not going to put up with this. You are not going to turn this into a 15-minute city. And they stopped the government. They actually stopped the council from carrying out doing that. That's what needs to happen worldwide.
And with 15-minute cities too, aren't there like barriers put up? So if you're going to leave your
Yes.
city, I
Yes.
think you have to pay to go as well. Like it's just like you are essentially trapped within this. It doesn't matter where your family is, even if your family's 30 minutes down the road. It's just, yeah, it's unbelievable. So I'm so excited to hear that because all right, let me ask you this. So I recently found out I have a smart meter installed in my home. What in terms of, can I tell them to remove it, that I don't want it anymore? Okay.
Yes.
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 Okay.
You have the statutory right to refuse to use that kind of technology.
Okay.
The company that provides your electricity may say, no, you don't. But
Right.
all you have to do is say, I have the statutory right to make this choice because this is not a healthy device.
This is causing harm to my health.
And my children and my pets. And they actually, by law, will have to take it away and put an old-fashioned analog meter back on your house.
Now, they may, just to protest it, they may put you on a waiting list and make you wait a long time. So you have to be persistent because they will probably put you in, well, we don't have time to do that right now.
We're too busy.
We're too busy to put you off. So if something like that happens, I'd go public. I'd find a TV or a radio station that would talk about it. That's
Okay. So let me put this out there to everybody. I'm going to start doing this and I'll talk about it on my next podcast where I am. So my power company is AEP. I'm assuming because I just actually got my report and my statement, was looking through it. And I was thinking I didn't have a smart meter because my home is like over almost 100 years old. And there it was listed right there. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm assuming I call the power company directly and start talking to them about it. Does that sound correct?
Yes. Yeah. Keep asking. They will try to pass the buck when you first call.
Okay.
Or if you actually walk into you may have to, if you don't get satisfaction over the phone, you may actually have to waste your time walking in and saying, I need to talk to the person who can give me the answers I need.
If everyone listening or watching this, if this is what, because there are so many things as a human being, you're like, what can I do? How can I make a difference? This seems very simple. Even though there might be challenges that entail with it, but if it's within the law and you have rights to do this feels like something that everyone can do. So I'm going to put it out there that I'm going to take the lead on this, that we're going to do it. And I'm going to continue to report with how it's going for me. Thank y'all so much for this.
Excellent. So I know you have lots of questions for us to discuss together, but I don't know if the American news media P and I live in an undisclosed place. Everybody knows that. But I don't know if the American news media followed this story, but about a month ago, the government of France, and stop me if you know the story, the government of France made legislation, an edict saying, we are going to go completely cashless immediately. Do you know about the story?
Yeah, but please share it.
Well, do you want to share it?
Go ahead.
Well, a grassroots protest began, and within weeks of that announcement that they were going to absolutely go cashless, 200,000 people
On a particular
on
day.
one day went to all the supermarkets, all the gas stations, all the places where people spend the most money, all the shopping malls. 200,000 people showed up with only cash in their pockets. They filled their shopping carts. They got in line. They made these huge lines so that they would say at checkout, oh, we don't have any credit cards. We don't have any debit cards. We only have cash. They created such chaos and such mayhem that the managers of these stores had no choice but to accept cash. And it worked.
Same thing at gas stations, filling up your gas tank and then saying, take my cash. I don't have any credit cards. And you've got people blocked up behind you waiting to pump, and they had to take it. So it's the same thing. It worked at both places.
So this grassroots protest caused the French government to back down. The government said, oh, we didn't really mean that. So it's okay.
Oh,
we
gosh.
can be a cash society and a card society. It works. The whole country of France was saved by these courageous people doing that.
Wow. That is so wonderful. And that also reminds me, we didn't mean that when PayPal came up with, we're going to start charging people for saying things that we don't like. And then people stopped getting off PayPal and they were like, oh, we didn't really mean that. You have got to be kidding. Oh, we didn't put that out there. We didn't. And they started taking everything down so you couldn't find it, like gaslighting as well. Okay, what if, because there's so much more we can talk about, but I see you guys in another 6 weeks so we can continue this. What if we go ahead and move into the Just Be practice, and whatever you guys feel, I feel again, just a balancing, again, because we talk about really heavy, truthful things, and then to end it with, hey, it's all going to be okay. And look at what people are doing and how powerful we all are. Are y'all ready to go into the practice? Is there anything you want to add before that?
Yes, one thing I would like to say before we do that, and that is in the mode of empowering ourselves, stop relying on AI like Alexa or smartphones or anything else, and take back your own investigative skills to find your answers without artificial intelligence, because it is infiltrating every level of our life. And if you don't believe that, check your emails and proof them before you send them, because AI is changing words in emails. Ooh. We have documented that that's going on. Check your emails. Check things that you do on your computer. AI is watching you, and they are changing things that get sent out that cause miscommunication, wrong messages being sent, everything. We need to disengage from AI. And that starts by not relying on Alexa, putting down the smartphones, and stop relying on outside sources for information. Look, smell, listen, watch, look around, use your brain.
It's a little bit like years ago when really bad ingredients were being added to food. And people started becoming label readers. They started to realize that if they don't read what's in the food, if there are too many totally unpronounceable words in the ingredient list, you don't want to be eating this. It's the same thing that P is talking about right now.
We have a friend that was sharing a parenting story recently. Their child is now grown, but they were sharing this parenting story of how to teach their child to look at the world and see for themselves what's going on. And they took this child into the grocery store and said, look at the children's shampoo. And they pulled it out and they read all. Now look at all the ingredients on the children's shampoo. Some things you can't even name, right? Now look at the adult shampoo. less ingredients, same brand, same shampoo, one for children, one for grown-ups, more things that are chemical that you can't even read on the children's. Why do you think that is? And just giving the child something to think about. We need to give all of us something to think about. Look, pay attention to what's going on. Just don't accept everything that you're told. If we want to be empowered, we have to use our brains as well as our hearts.
And I would say Alexa's easy. That's an easy one. Just get rid of it. So easy.
Yeah.
Well, with the smartphones, I was talking about that with some clients this week, and they're like, oh, that's, that will really change my life. Okay, whatever. But Alexa will not change your life. Just get, like, when I have my house on my own, there's very little that is here. Like, I think my parents have like Alexas in every room. I'm like, so easy to get rid of. All right. Is there any other comment? All right. Are we ready for Larkma?
Those people even with the smartphones who say, this will change my life. My response to that is, you have a choice. Change your life or lose your freedom. What do you want to do? Change your life or lose your freedom.
It's very impactful. Okay. Shall we? Oh, y'all are coming together. All right. Let me pause too. Ready.
Just be practice.
Hello, dear ones. We are Larkma, and we are here because we love you. We also are very much wanting to help you on your evolutionary journey. We have a message for you today that is consistent from what you have been listening to in this radio show, and that is that you are light, and within that light, you contain a great deal of power. Because you are light, and because you have the power of love within you, you have the ability, through every choice you to make a difference in the world, to make a difference in your life and in the lives of others. You have the power to move into a place where whatever happens next partially happens because of the choices that you are making. If you sit back and play the victim role of, I'm a victim, I'm too small, I can't do anything, they're going to win anyway. If you play that role, that is the energy that you are aligning with. If instead you play the role of recognition of who you are and beginning to take steps in every moment to say no where appropriate and yes where appropriate, while stepping into parallel choices every chance you need to, if you do that, you are accelerating your evolutionary journey, you are empowering yourself to make a difference, and you're completing what you came here to do in this world in service. You came to be of service, you came to be who you are, you came to shine your light, you came to be loved. This is what you are here to do. Eden, do you have any question you would like to integrate into our comments today?
Let me think for a moment. I feel your message is so important today, and it's like an energetic pep talk. Just please go forth. It's wonderful. I believe it's what people need to hear. Yeah, so no question specifically.
If you try to stay with the status quo, or you try to go back to what you perceive as normal, then you are stuck. If you wish to evolve, you have to move out of what is familiar, what you are stuck in, what you are looping through your mind or your emotions, into the chaotic place of change. Change is one of the powers of the universe that helps evolution to accelerate. In your recognition of who you are as an energetic being of love and light, step into the chaos with a positive, open-filled heart, trusting that as you make your choices and you participate moment by moment by responding to the energies that are present, you are helping the evolutionary journey of many, not just your own, but the evolutionary journey of all others who are tuned to, you might say, the same channel of vibration, who are doing the same thing as what you are wishing to do. This is all possible for you. We want you to continue being who you are by recognizing every moment more of the depth of who you are. Know that you are light and love. Know that we have gone through our own evolutionary process, and we understand that chaos is part of the program. Chaos is not a negative word. It is not a lower vibrational energy. It is not negative at all. It is a portal for opportunity and change. So enter into the chaos with love, trust, joy, compassion, and excitement for what comes next. You are evolving into the love and into the light of who you truly are. We love you. Good always.
Mm-mm. Step into the chaos. It's not negative. See it again. Your mindset is everything. It's exciting. And even though all of this stuff right now is like, what? It is really exciting. It really is.
All of this amazing stuff we're going through is all potentially for our growth. All of these challenges, all of the chaos that Larkma just spoke of is enabling us to grow, is enabling us to evolve into who we can be, our new humanity, our deeper selves. And instead of seeing these things as roadblocks, instead of seeing these things as irritants or things we don't like, I think a little bit of perspective change is in order for us to say, oh, well, this gives me a different idea of how to progress, how to move on, how to do things differently. So I think it's really incumbent upon us to see what's going on as opportunities for not only growth, but expansion, changing of consciousness. We have all this adversity, and adversity in its positive element is all about growth. It's all about moving into a different world, a different way of understanding the universe. So I think if we really look at what's happening to us as not a negative situation, but a growth-filled situation, I think we'll have a better and much more holistic attitude towards all of it.
Completely agree. I, again, always so grateful to you guys for showing up and talking from your heart, and grateful for Lakmar also coming and being a part of this as well. So just extending to you guys today, I am going to plaster beautifully the smile on my face. Every step is going to be about love and loving the chaos and being excited about it. I hope you all can do that as well. Okay, are we done, y'all? I think so. I think that was a great ending. Okay, y'all hang on just a minute, as we always do, so I can say personally goodbye to you guys. All right, y'all, I will also let you guys know what my journey is with the smart meter, and I think I'm going to start getting some people on board to do this with me as well. Power up, everyone. Power up. Let's do this thing. All right, see you later. So cool of you to be here. I went from being off most social media to being on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Truth Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. Or you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on over 19 directories at this point. So connect, comment, subscribe, like. Oh, and my intention is to have a new episode out Wednesday of each week. Oh, Lordy, more to come.